Hello and welcome to my channel. This is Ozzy. Today I'm going to talk about my journey as a teacher, how I became a teacher, how it's going, and what's my future plan. So this whole episode was suggested by my dear friend, sister, and a bro. She has been recently working as a TA, and naturally so she is very curious about teaching in general, and she was curious about what my journey was like, how I became one, and I thought I'd make a video of this. Well, she suggested me to make a video of this. Anyway, yeah, here I am. I'm going to talk about my history. Well, at the very young age, I was very much in love with teaching. I was like, I don't know, 8 or 9. I used to gather around my neighbors' children and I would teach them what I had learned that day or the prior days. We have this piece of I don't know what to call it in English. It's a piece of metal, and I used to write with chalks on it and teach kids math, basic math, and teach them how to read and write. It was fun. I really enjoyed it, and kids also enjoyed it too, I guess. Until I became older and I kind of grew out of love with it. To the day, I don't really know what's the reason and why I kind of lost my interest in teaching. But I think it's because I was in a very close contact with teaching and being a teacher. My mother is a retired teacher. Well, for most of her years, she's been a dean, but she had some teaching experience too, and she was a very hardworking and dedicated dean and teacher, and I witnessed that she would bring the struggles and problems of school to the house, and we were kind of struggling together. And I remember that my dad used to even run around for the school I was studying in, and my mom was the dean of it. So I think I thought of it as a very much a difficult job that didn't worth it. So I think that was it. But another reason could be that as I got older, I noticed how corrupted and broken our system is, like the education system, and how wrong it is. So I didn't want to be part of it, and I didn't want to work for them. So I kind of refused to become a teacher. Anyway, until I was in the first year of college when I received my first job offer to become a teacher. As you know, my major was English language and literature, so I think it was natural for people to assume that I could teach English. So this lady comes up to me and she's like, "Hey Ozzy, what do you think to teach in my institute?" And I'm like, "But I have no experience and I don't know how to teach." And she's like, "Come on, you can do it. Just come to our institute on this day and that." And I go there and I have to teach to a class of 30 without prior knowledge nor experience, and I loved it. I loved the experience. The kids were so enthusiastic, and the thing about me is that I'm so energetic in the classroom, and people love that. I mean, kids love that. So kids loved me, I loved them, I loved teaching, they loved how I taught, and I think that's why I became like more interested in teaching. But even then, I didn't really want to be a teacher, but I like teaching anyway. So that was how I got into the teaching world. After that, I taught during summer, and as I got familiar with teaching and as I got familiar with my shortcomings as a teacher, I decided to take a course, a TTC course. I think teacher training course. It was held in the city where I was studying, and it was great. They, for the first couple of sessions, they used to teach us the basics, the theoretical theories, and the theoretical aspect of the teaching and stuff. And then it was time for us to act as teachers in the class, and they would give us descriptions of how this class is that we are going to teach. And for some it was adults, for some it was kids. For me it was kids of aged between 3 to 5 or 6, I guess, and that's my specialty. I didn't know this, but that was my specialty. So I go there, and I'm like very energetic and upbeat and like very fun, I guess. So we were like 10 to 12 girls and one boy. So all the girls kind of avoided that boy. I don't know why, maybe because they felt like uncomfortable or something. But what I did was I included him in my class, and he was a 4-year-old boy, so I adjusted my tone and language to him, and I think we were talking about if they helped their mom and dad at home, and he was like, yeah, I do. I helped yesterday I helped my mom bake cake, and we were talking about cakes, and suddenly I noticed that our instructor was sitting at the very back, and he was holding his camera. I was like, what's going on? And I noticed that he's calling over to the dean of that institute, and I was like, what? And he was like, and I was like, okay. And then I did, and after class, he called me and a couple of other girls over, and he was like, yeah, we are thinking of starting a new class for children aged between 3 to 6, and they were looking for a teacher, so they chose us as candidates, and they had to run a few tests and test our abilities further and see if we were qualified enough to teach. And I remember they chose me, and they were like, yeah, the class starts, this is a summer class, and you have to come like 3 days a week and stuff. And I was like, sorry, but I don't live here, and I have to leave after the semester is over. And when sorry, my cat. So they were like, oh, that's a shame, and I was like, yeah, it's a shame. I really couldn't afford like commuting there 3 days a week, and it was very difficult for me at that time. I think it is still. Anyway, so that's how my first real teaching offer went. It was, I think, the last real teaching offer I could get. It was a great opportunity, but I lost it. Anyway, I missed it. Anyway, yeah. So after that, my mom retired, and she established her own institute, and me and my sisters started teaching there, and I loved it, and I still do. And you know what fascinates me is that even if I feel like down and I feel bad on the day that I have classes, once I step into the class, suddenly I'm all better and I feel much lighter, and I feel at home, to be honest. I think teaching is my thing, and I think I'm rather good at it, but the previous semester was so hard for me. It had never happened to me before. Before it didn't matter how I didn't like a few students in the class. It is true. Teachers have favorites. They have the least favorites too. It is true. Teachers can't say, no, everyone is the same. It is exactly how it is for parents. It is natural. Anyway, so, you know, before I didn't really let this, my feeling toward my students get to me, but this time I was very, I'd say it was the worst semester of my 8 years of experience. I was constantly angry at class, and I would yell at my students sometimes, and I would, I wasn't very satisfied with my performance as a teacher, and my kids weren't also performing the way they ought to. It really affected me. For the first time, I let my life affect my job as a teacher, and I was so disappointed in myself. But this semester is much better. I'm again starting to be the good teacher I was, I think. Yeah, and I think I will take a few online courses on teaching, and because my students deserve a better teacher, and my future students also deserve a better teacher. So I'm going to work on my teaching skills and on my class management more. Yeah, that's my future plan number 1. For number 2, I don't think I will be a teacher, a full-time teacher, ever. I don't really like to spend all my time on teaching. I have other priorities and other plans for myself. I think I will at some point teach Korean. Here, many of my students love Korean because of K-pop or K-drama, and they are so interested in learning the language. So I think there are many potential future Korean learners among them, and I want to get to the point that where I could teach basic Korean at least to my kids, and in a different class, of course. Maybe they fall in love with the language, and maybe they fall in love with learning languages even more. So that's my plan number 2 for teaching. I think that's it. Teaching is good. Teaching is that's it about my plans. I don't have much plans. The thing about teaching is that, let me tell you this. I used to like the ones that their English was good more. They were my favorite. And my classmate, my friend, who was also a teacher, told me once that her favorite was told me that her favorite students were those who weren't that good at English. That way she could trace and follow their progress and see how much she affected their English. And that was like a moment for me, and I was like, that makes sense. That's what a teacher should be like. And from then on, I started to pay more attention to the progress of my students who weren't that good. I have this very, very amazing memory. I had this one student who was new to my class, and she was talking to her classmates, and she was like, I hate English. My teacher back at school is so awful and stuff like that. And she was like, I don't like English because of her. And one semester later, I caught her telling her friends that she loved English. And I remember her mentioning that how much she enjoyed my classes. And I think that was the proudest moment of my teaching life. I really, really keep that memory close to my heart. And whenever I feel bad about teaching, or like whenever I feel like teaching is not right for me, I remember that memory, and I'm like, maybe I can change even one person's point of view about English and learning languages. And that's what keeps me going. Yeah, so that's it, I think, for today's video. I talked a lot. I might edit some parts and make it shorter. Definitely won't be 35 minutes again. That's not me. I won't talk for 35 minutes again. Anyway, thank you for watching this episode. I love you all. Bye bye.